on October 21st. That's followed by Ohio State on the 28th, and then back home for Michigan State on the 4th. Michigan State on the 4th is probably going to be the easier of the two, but it's hard to ask a team to take on Michigan and Ohio State in back-to-back weeks and then be able to come out of there unscathed or without any issue.
I'm gonna end up eating my words at the end of the season, I'm sure, but I'm not worried about Michigan.
I understand they lost a lot of they did lose a ton of talent. That and their quarterback situation's a disaster. The only reason I don't write Michigan off is because of Jim Harbaugh. The fact that he is such a good coach, and he's proven to be. He got to a Super Bowl in the pros. He's proven that he's building this Michigan team up, and it's finally getting to a point where most of the players on this team are players that he's been able to assess for a while, and B, the ones that he needs to replace are ones being replaced by his recruiting class.
Yeah, and I understand that it's a lot better for a coach when they have their players coming into play for them, but he handpicked Wilton Speight to be his quarterback, and so far it's been okay. It hasn't been anything spectacular.
Yeah, I agree, but that being said, he's made bad quarterbacks look good. Colin Kaepernick.
In all fairness, Colin Kaepernick is a good quarterback. I know we talked about this before. Colin Kaepernick is a good quarterback. He is physical. He is fast. He has a strong arm. Mm-hmm. He's accurate. Mm-hmm. The problem is
he's a good unemployed quarterback.
His mental game is wrong. That's the problem.
Oh, at the end of the day, he's unemployed.
So
is Johnny Manziel.
Maybe not for long. For both of them.
Yeah, Johnny Manziel's been playing the spring league.
You never know.
Sean Payton was having, I think, dinner with Johnny Manziel and has taken him under his wing.
He talked to Johnny Manziel, I believe, at the Super Bowl. Just wanted to get his mentality. If either one, I could see Kaepernick being in the league. There is need. I could see somebody giving Manziel a try, but that's an even riskier gamble. And then, of course, you've got Jay Cutler out there too. He could care less if he gets hired or not.
Yeah, I think Jay Cutler might end up retiring. But Colin Kaepernick will find a job. My guess is Colin Kaepernick will end up in Houston before the end of the season. I think he'll be with the Texans. I think
that could be a potentially good fit. Also, while we're in this brief NFL tangent, I just got a currently breaking news. Probably not that breaking once this, when our listeners hear this. Yeah. Amazon and not Twitter will stream Thursday night NFL games this year for a lucrative Thursday night deal. So Thursday night football is not going anywhere. I know we discussed this last week.
It's never going anywhere.
No, it's a money generator for the NFL. They'll never get away from it.
Amazon's got deep pockets. So I imagine that
got some deep pockets. I'm surprised that Netflix hasn't tried to jump in on this because they're always being knocked for the one thing that they can't provide people is live sporting events. But the same thing can be said for Amazon, so kudos to them for knocking out that deal.
A Fire Stick now.
Thankfully, I have somebody who has Prime.
Amazon. We're not endorsed by Amazon yet. Not yet. Other games going on, the idea of not being worried. I'm not worried about Nebraska, which is funny because I was just telling you Ohio State should be. This is why. Penn State plays Nebraska at the end of the season. Nebraska has one big fault, and it's been the fault that they've had for a long time now. They start the season strong and fade at the end. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be playing Ohio State right in the middle of the season, just before Ohio State's bye week. Penn State plays them the second to last game, I believe. So Nebraska should be pretty much easy pickings by the time that game comes up.
Can we just agree that the East Division in the Big Ten is just way better than the West Division?
No.
Oh, come on.
No. I'm going to say no.
Oh.
I'm going to say no, and here's why. You argue that the East is way better, but did Wisconsin not lead Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State all in the same season? Like late in the game. They took Ohio State to overtime.
Okay, but I'm talking about the powerhouses that are there right now. You're talking about right now Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan. Michigan State was a monster. We were talking about Maryland
Michigan
rising.
State won 3 games last season.
not last. Yeah, I'm not talking about last year, but if you want to look at the past 2 years before that, when they had Connor Cook,
yeah,
that team was stacked at that time. Listen, we understand that in college football more than anything else, there is always usually that turnover unless you have that prestige or coach. But we also talked about Maryland on the rise. I mean, obviously Rucker changes the bell curve, but
you can put and don't forget, Michigan State had Le'Veon Bell. You could put Le'Veon Bell on Rutgers. Rutgers is a good team.
Oh, true. Good point.
Good point. That's a fair assessment.
Also, because Nebraska's a good team for 75% of the season. Minnesota's a good team. I think they're highly underrated. And Wisconsin, like I said, they got to the Big Ten championship. I know that they're playing not on the same division, but Michigan didn't, and neither did Ohio State. So while we're sitting,
I could see that. Illinois rising too is a potential. Iowa's always tough. Purdue is the West's Rutgers.
No, don't do that to Purdue.
They're definitely the bottom of the heap there, unless it's. I mean, Northwestern also has their qualms at times.
Purdue. I like Purdue. Actually, I was really hoping that.
Why do you like Purdue so much?
Because I feel bad for them.
That's not a reason to like them.
No,
or
it's
to
not.
think that they'll succeed in some way.
It's not that I feel bad for them necessarily. It's
like me saying I like the Sixers.
Yeah, no, it's different. Purdue has produced some players that I really liked. Curtis Painter, terrible pro. I loved watching him in college. He was a lot of fun to watch. Drew Brees. I was really hoping that somehow Purdue would be able to bring Les Miles into the Big Ten.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it. One can dream, right? Could you imagine having Lovie Smith, Les Miles, James Franklin, Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer, Bo Pelini, all coaching in the same conference?
That would be a little ridiculous. Not to mention Lovie Smith in that same breath. I mean, that would have been nice to see.
No other conference would be able to say that they have such talent at coaching. Even the SEC wouldn't be able to say that. It's Saban and everybody else in the SEC.
More or less, yeah. Unfortunately, that's the way the SEC has come down to. That's why I feel if you want to watch a more competitive, more pro-based football, I guess you'd say Power 5 conference, I would say that lies competitively in the Big Ten. I mean, the SEC is always going to claim that they're the kings of college football, but, I mean, other than Alabama and the carousel of teams that rise and fall with the crop.
I mean, honestly, I think that was shut down this season.
It should be, but unfortunately I don't think it gets associated that way.
Very first week of the season when Wisconsin played against LSU and beat LSU, to me that was the signifying SEC. You're not the cream of the crop.
I was thrilled about that one.
Me too.
I don't think I rooted for Wisconsin harder.
Oh, no. I mean, I bet possibly in the Big Ten championship you might have.
I did.
Get those Penn State guys.
Well, yeah, but that's bitterness from earlier in the year.
Yeah.
That'll happen again this year if it happens, so be prepared.
Yeah, so that's really all I have right now on Penn State, other than I'm coming up with my way too early top 25, and a little spoiler, I do have Penn State at number 4. So
okay.
I think they'll be...
That's fair.
I think they'll be... I'll get my top 4 right now. Number 1 is Alabama until Saban's gone. Number 2 is USC. Number 3 is Oklahoma. Number 4 is Penn State. From there it goes Ohio State, Wisconsin. So the Big Ten well represented in the top 7 from me. But I
could see that. I don't know that I necessarily agree with the Oklahoma statement, but I also don't. I don't know how well Oklahoma's really going to fare this season. I felt that they were pumped up a lot last year, and they didn't get it together until the end.
Well, I mean, you could say the same thing. Very first week of the season, I believe it was first week, USC goes to Alabama, loses 52-6.
Yeah, but that's true. But then when USC did this in the end of the season, that was the team we expected to see from the beginning. And not only did they did that, they did it at an alarming rate. I mean, if they had played that way for the whole year, we could have been talking about them being mentioned in the playoffs. So I do agree with your USC statement, because I think USC is going to be one that really shocks a lot of people in college football this year, returning to dominance after a long hiatus of issues that they've been dealing with.
I think the biggest issue, as far as I know, because I haven't watched too much Pac-12 football that's not on ESPN or one of the ESPN networks, but Fox used to do a lot of Pac-12 stuff, and Petros Papadakis used to be the broadcaster. I couldn't stand listening to him. Oh my goodness!
Well,
remember him?
Yeah. How do you forget a name like that?
Petros Papadakis.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I guess that's an announcer's name.
That's a lot of alliteration.
Yeah, the Pac-10 or the Pac-10 and 12, the Pac in general is kind of hard to watch at a certain point, especially with our handicap being on the East Coast. I mean, unless you can really stay up on that Saturday and commit yourself to being up till 2 in the morning to watch the game, it's a little difficult to catch a lot of their games, unfortunately.
Although I got to say, I like not working on Sundays because I can do that.
Well, no, I'm with you too. I don't work weekends. I can't do that.
Yeah, I one of my favorite things to watch are the very late games. I am more than happy to stay up until 2 in the morning watching like Hawaii versus San Jose State. That's just fun football.
On a weekend?
Yeah, on a weekend.
Sure. I mean, college football is just entertaining to me in general. It's a faster pace. It's some of the games that I've stayed up watching till late hours have actually been some of the more entertaining games. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So let's move on to Oregon. Dan, what have you got for us with Oregon?
My new team. Well, I have been furiously doodling since the beginning of this episode, since you didn't let me find out who I'd be picking until the live recording. So Oregon had their worst season since I was born in 1991.
I mean, Chip Kelly's not there.
Yeah. And they went 4-8, and they fired Mark Helfrich and have hired Willie Taggart.
Willie Taggart was a good hire.
Yeah.
I'm pretty pumped about that.
From South Florida. From what I've read and heard from previous seasons with Taggart, he's hungry, and I think, he might put a fire under the Ducks that was apparently lacking last year. That was what the rumors were.
And I'm telling you right now, and again, I might eat the words that I'm about to say, but come the end of the season, the Oregon Ducks under Taggart will be much more improved than the Texas Longhorns will under Herman.
Ooh.
That is a bold statement, Cotton.
Maybe. Yeah, that's bold. We'll see if it pays off.
Yeah. I think Taggart's a better coach than Herman.
I hope you're right.
That's tough for me to say. I mean, Herman.
I'm a Ducks fan, apparently.
Look at what Herman did in Houston, and now you're getting. Texas is a whole different ballgame than playing football in Houston. They're not the same. Texas has the prestige. They
also played like garbage.
That's fine, but I mean Herman. And I may not disagree with you entirely on that, because a lot of Oregon, from what I can look in what I've seen, Oregon's retaining 91% of their defense and about 76% of their offense.
They need to change it, though.
They're giving an overall rank of a return of players, and but the thing is, the returning the players, that's another level of maturity. Maybe the system fits them better in this scenario. I mean, he was coaching Southern Florida, correct? They had one of their better they've actually had some pretty good seasons out of the Big East as of late, which I know it's hard to say because the Big East isn't known for football by any means.
They always have one team, though. The Big East, not anymore, because
right. But I remember them being. I remember them the last couple of years. It's been Southern Florida that's been the team to want to beat. So, I mean, if you're going to get an upgrade to Oregon, I can see your statement this year being true. In the long run, I don't necessarily know if I agree with you.
I also don't know if I believe that Taggart's going to be at Oregon for the long haul. I see this, and it's funny that I'm going to say this. I see this as a stepping stone to a bigger program.
You think remaining in the NCAA, or do you think going to the pros?
No, NCAA.
Okay.
I think this is